What is up, guys? This is Kobe here. I know it's been a while, it's been quite some time, but I have come back and I want to make a few videos over Challengers World 2. Just kind of going over some topics here and there, with the final video being based on the GMS patch notes whenever we get them, so I can officially confirm like certain things that will be going down on Challenge World, because as it is, some of this stuff is like kind of sort of theory crafting because we don't have patch notes yet. And also, I just want to say I read everything that people have said about the note that I put out like a month or so ago about the guides and whatnot, and I just want to say thank you guys so much. That is probably the most amount of positivity that I've ever seen, most amount of crazy feedback, and I really did not think it was like gonna be that big for y'all. And it honestly really started making me feel like genuinely bad about posting that. So again, I just want to say thank you, and as a result, I will not be taking away the guides. I will not be taking away the guides. First Adversary is coming out on January 7th for Maple Sea, so that guide is going to be out by then. Anyway, back into the topic. Challengers World. So season 2 is coming around, and people are gonna start wondering how many points do you need to do this and that and all this and that and all that stuff. Well, first things first, I got a calculator right here. This calculator will help kind of sort of in a way to where you can kind of like maybe see like what you need to do for Challengers World. So basically, this first thing here is a target score. I'm not sure how well this will work exactly, but especially since like there's only 12 days left until KMS Challengers World ends. But for what we have is a target score is the score that you're trying to reach, whether it's 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 75, or whatever. And then the amount of hunting missions that you plan to miss, like all the daily missions. If you do complete all the daily missions, you get a grand total of 22,000 points, which if I were to just reset this whole calculator, which it's probably buggy because Google Translate, hold on. Alright, to reset the calc and I do all dailies, it is 11.5k points, because there are about 23 weeks for Challenger World. Actually, I feel like it should be more so 11,000. I would expect 22 weeks and just about 11,000 points from dailies if you plan on staying throughout all the Challengers World. But the goals that I kind of have set in for the video today do not really keep mind of the whole entire 5-month progression of Challengers World. It is going to be like kind of some other goals, you know, here and there to be able to reach that certain tier. And if you want to play around with it, what level you need to reach for points, what boss missions you need to do for points, then by all means, you absolutely can. But I just want to let you guys know, here's what I like kind of crafted up a little bit on some of the goals that you kind of need to reach in order to hit, you know, a certain amount of points. 5k is really easy. You just hit 260 and you solo Inloam, because you get 3,000 points for reaching 260 this time around, because they basically merge like the 260 in the 265 level up reward. So instead of 1k for 260 and 2k for 265, it's just 3k for 260 and that's it. So we have that for 5k, and then starting 10k and above, you're gonna want to be level 270 plus, ideally on the first week, which should be not too hard to do, because we have Hyper Burning Max, which is 5 levels for every level you earn up to 260, plus Burning Beyond, which is 1 level for every level you earn after 260 until 270, and we have things like Grandest Monster Park coming, so the daily EXP is going to skyrocket. 270 will be very, very easy. In a sense, for this Challengers World, 270 is practically the new 260, but like actually though. For 10k, you get through the first week of dailies until up to Easy Will. Well, yeah, that puts you at 10k. The 5k reward will be the fragments in the Sorta, and GMS will probably also throw in a fairy heart there again, which KMS did not have that fairy heart at 5k, but GMS just randomly decided to add that, so if they do it again, that'd be nice. 15k or 10k is also for the Oz ring, that you can use only on Challenger World. If you leap, you will lose that ring. 15k for more fragments in Sorta. You gotta solo up the Hard Lotus. And then for 20k for even more fragments in Sorta, you have to solo everything up to Vihila, normal Vihila, plus 1 hard arcane boss between Hard Lucid and Will, and Sea Tennies and Sea Slime. Honestly, for damage requirement, Hard Lucid is still probably like the highest damage requirement. It's got a low damage requirement per se, but even playing like, you know, a Ren using a Roar, actually Roar bursting Lucid, you are probably still like more likely to kill any of the other arcane bosses if you are skilled enough to min clear them over hard lucid, because P3 is just still that tanky. This may change with the release of Ascent skills, but before Ascent skills come out, that's just kind of how it is. And then Sea Slime is kind of on that same level, if not maybe a little bit higher than hard lucid. So the hard arcane boss is, I mean, if you overgear enough, then you can absolutely do lucid. But if not, then I'd either recommend Will or Gloom or Dark Knell, especially if you have the levels for Dark Knell for 270. I have a 1 month strat that I mentioned at the end of this little doc over here, but in order to hit that within the month, you want to hit 20k points to reap all of the fragment and sword benefits by just doing dailies for a month, hitting 270, and you solo up to normal Vihila. None of the hard arcane bosses at all whatsoever, just up to normal Vihila, and you're done. 30k you can hit on the first week by soloing all of C10Es and Hard Will. Don't have to do Hard Lucid or Chaos Slime. And honestly, I'm pretty sure 30k is like the highest extent of the first week to how far people will go. I'm not sure if people will hit 40k on the first week unless they hit level 280 or they can solo normal Saren somehow. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure most, if like more than 99% of players are not hitting 40k on the first week. They're gonna need week 2 for that. So yeah, week 2, you do week 2 dailies, you hit 275, and you solo H2 Will and C10Es and Sea Slime. And then there's a lot of different requirements you can do to hit 60k or 75k, but the lowest suffer requirement consists of Easy Kalos and Black Mage with 18 weeks of dailies. So it's a bit rough. So it's supposed to be 8 weeks of dailies. Clearing BM saves you 10 weeks of dailies. If you don't clear BM solo, you have to do 18 weeks of dailies. Other than that, it's 280 E-Kalos in 4 weeks, or 280 E-Kalos in BM and no dailies. Because BM just throws you over, like, you know, that point amount to where dailies aren't really necessary to hit 60k. And then 75k, you got 285 soloing up to E-Kalos doing dailies. If you only stop at 280, then you need to solo hard Saren, and you gotta wait 10 weeks for dailies. Or you can skip all those dailies and just solo easy calling and finish it there instead. Or you can not hit 280, which if you're going for Challenger, I feel like you should hit 280, especially if at 275, you gotta do easy calling anyway. So it's like, you may as well just hit 280 on this character for the extra damage and solo easy calling. But if you just don't hit 280, then you can do that and then do dailies for 6 weeks, and then you're good. I do want to point out that rewards past 20k are kind of more cosmetic-like, or just not that big. 30k gives you the 20 Legion Gold Potions if your account needs those. And then, you know, 30 and 40k give a Legendary Potential Scroll. They start handing out Bright Cubes. Maybe even more like Bright Cubes or Heroic, because there's also bonus Bright Cubes for Interactive as well too within these ranks. But really, it's legit just the Gold Potions, the 2 Legendary Pot Scrolls, and then the Bright Cubes. Which, you know, they're kind of nice in their own right. They can save you like a few build total, but it's really not rewards that like are really crazy to go for, especially if you don't need the Legion potions. Most of the rewards are purely cosmetic. You get a Valkyrie set at 40k, and I really like the weapon of it, but I feel like a lot of people think the overall set is kind of mid. But then 75k you get Challenger, and for reaching Challenger you get the medal and home furniture. But the catch about this medal is that when you get it, you will have your Challenger rank on the medal. When I got Challenger on KMS, my medal says Challenger number 133. After 30 days of Challenge World and I reached Challenger, I was the 133rd person in KMS to hit Challenger. And there's currently over 20,000 now. So whether you want a big number or a small number is up to you. But that's like a little overview of what you need to do to reach these ranks for Challenger World. Of course, there's like different strats that could be made depending on how long it takes to reach them. You can just do more dailies and do less bosses. But I'm not gonna think of like all of like the scenarios where you gotta do that, especially for the lower ranks. I only really did it for the higher ones because I feel like it's more necessary to do it for those. But these, they're just so easy to brute force with bosses that to me, it doesn't really matter. Moving on over though, Mystic Seal. So I know there's a lot of Challenge World content on YouTube. However, I'm not sure how much people have actually talked about this new system. Basically what it is additional stats. Going down over here, I took a picture of a legendary seal that I currently have on my Challenge World character, showing that you get Your main stat, your secondary stat at the exact same amount. You get attack and you get stat percent. Just some nice little extra stats I have on challenge mode, essentially. So every day at reset, you get 3 seal control rods. It doesn't even matter if you log in or not. You just get the 3 regardless. However, you are not allowed to hold any more than 20. So if there is a day where you have 18 and you don't use one, then the day after that, you will only have up to 20. So you only get 2. That third one, it just goes into the void. It's not there. You don't get it. When you use the rods to open a seal, you will get a seal based on one of these 5 different rankings. It starts at normal and then it goes all the way to legendary. However, the chance of hitting legendary is extremely low. The main goal of opening these seals is to hit at least 1 legendary. If you can hit 1 legendary, you're good to go. The legendary rank is really low, but you can increase the probability of getting legendary by increasing your challenger rank. So when you start off, you're only at stage 1, which is 0 points. Stage 2 for the 0.05% chance is 15k. Stage 3 for the 0.1 is 30k. Stage 4 for the 0.5, a huge increase, is 40k. And then stage 5, the final stage, is master, which is at 60k, unfortunately. And that one gives 1%, a 1% chance to hit legendary. So every day, the 3 free rods you get, you have a 1% chance to hit for each of those 3 rods, which I'm not doing the math to see like the total on that, basically. However, on top of the 3 free rods per day, you will also have access to the Meso shop, which sells 20 of these per week for 5 mil each. And you can hold on to them for 7 days before you have to use them after you buy them. So the main strategy is to hold out on using the rods until you absolutely have to ensure the highest possible chance to reach legendary as you progress your challenger rank. But then the moment you hit master, it doesn't really, you don't have to do like any sort of save tech if you are going for master. You also don't really have to save if you are going for like a rank lower than master either, and you don't want to wait too long to go to master. For example, maybe you want to hit diamond, you want to chill out at diamond. You can just hit diamond and then open the rods then, because that 0.5 chance is a hell of a lot better than the 0.1. But if you feel like master's gonna take too long, then you may as well just use the rods. And then here's the upgrade table for the seal as well too. So as you can see, the success chance is very high, and the materials needed is really low. So for any like non-legendary seal you get, you just break it down. Anytime you get a seal that is a higher rank or a higher tier than what you already have, you get rid of your current seal and then you replace it with that higher rank seal, and then you dismantle your old one. You dismantle your old one for upgrade materials, and then you continue to upgrade the new one until at least +6 while you wait for your next rank up. And then once you do manage to hit that legendary, you don't really have to stop at like +6 anymore. You could just go as far as you possibly can up to +12. But do note these success rates going down to 20, 10, 6, 4, 2, 0.7. +12 is not easy to get. While the upgrading is RNG, it is important to note that the stats on the seal will always be the exact same if you compare it to other people's seals at the same rank and at the same upgrade. It's always going to give that same amount of stat, sub-stat, attack, and percent stat that it would just normally give. Usually when you upgrade a seal, some of the upgrades will only increase, your main and sub stat. Some will only increase the attack or the percent stat. Some upgrades will increase everything. But for the most part, it's just like the upgrades are rather small, and the stat boost is definitely way smaller on the lower tier seals, but it's still fine to just upgrade those to +6 because it's not too hard to get the materials for that as you break it down. But then going further than +6 is just too much of a cost if it's not legendary, and then you might as well just wait until you hit the legendary one. And that's it for the seal. So nice stats. But I just want to say once again, the main approach obviously is you need to hold out as much as you possibly can until you reach just a rank that you are satisfied with opening everything. Once you hit master, you can open everything straight away. But again, master's too far. I fully understand. So if you want to settle at a rank lower than master to open everything, that's up to you. That's perfectly fine. I would say the tiers that you should go for though, if possible, depending on the rank, is at the start of challenge mode, you want to go for a rare for sure. It's like really high. But then once you rank up to gold at 15k, you want to start going for an epic. And then once you hit an epic, you can settle on that. and then you don't want to go for a unique until 30k, which is Emerald, and then you don't want to go for a legendary until 40k plus. Ideally 60k, but again, if you're going to be at 40 and you're not going to be at 60 for a while, you may as well just start going for the legendary then. Next up, we have the Challengers Pass. This is officially the pay to win video, because playing Challengers World, if you have the money, the spare money, whatever, there are 2 passes that I strongly recommend you purchase when you play. One of them is the Challengers Pass, and the other is the Genesis Pass. Unfortunately, GMS isn't telling us if we'll get both of these passes or not at the moment. Probably not until patch notes or like the cash op sale for the Genie Pass or whatever on the day of the update. But that's just how it goes. If you spend 19.8k Maple points at the start of Challenge World, you will gain a passive 200% normal monster damage and 20% EXP gain for the next 2 months. You will also have access to bonus rewards. So here are the free rewards right here. Just small things like some symbol selectors, nodes, VIP sauna boosters, you know, ornamental fragments, just like little amounts of things. But then for the paid rewards, you get a lot of those amounts of things, like 800 nodes, 50 EXP nodes, 400 fragments, 300 black flames, a 270 potion, 2,000 more advanced tickets. It's just honestly absolutely insane. It does take, however, it does take 4 months to finish the Challengers Pass, because you earn about 6.25 levels per week after finishing all of the missions, and it does go up to level 20. So this brings us to my little 1 month strat. So even if you are playing on an established account, I have been telling people that if the patch notes include early leap on December 17th, which is pretty much, you know, the day Ascent skills come out, or like, you know, after 4 or 5 weeks or so, you should go for 20,000 points, especially if you do not need any of the cosmetic rewards or the Legion potions at 30k or anything like that. And it's exactly as I mentioned here. Hit 20k by doing dailies, hitting 270 and soloing up to normal V-Healer. Legit, with item burning, everything considered, all the events, you have more than enough resources to be able to do normal V-Healer. Now I get people might not be skilled enough, I suppose, to be able to fight her, but hey, if you're established, I low-key hope that you do, I'm gonna be honest. If you are able to pull this off with all of the events like Hyper Burning, Burning Beyond, Challengers UI, and the Challengers Pass, you can get as much as 2,000 node stones, 100 EXP node stones, which should be essentially enough to just fully finish the 5th job on that character without transferring anything from your main or like other events or whatever. You get 1.1k fragments, which is a really nice setup for champions. Like that's probably enough fragments for some mules to just settle on doing like the Saren champion with. Really, it's a really good amount of fragments. And then even if it's not, you kind of just give it like the sword, a weekly, or epic dungeons to it for like maybe a month max, and then you will definitely have plenty of fragments for that character to be like a very easy Saren champion. And then you have benefits from all the like arcane symbols and the symbol selectors and the black flames. Again, there's bright cubes, but I mean that just saves like a little bit of money, as well as 6 hours of sauna, 4,000 advanced EXP tickets, and a transcendent potion. And then there's even more like smaller benefits here and there. And if I were you, all the symbol selectors, I would dump them on arcane. I feel like you have enough symbols from Grandis to do any of the content off of Burning Beyond, because Burning Beyond gives level 5, so well, Hyper Burning gives level 5 Cernium, and then Burning Beyond gives level 5 Arcus and level 5 Odium. And then you can pop the Burning Beyond side at the end for an additional 100 sack, which puts you at 250 sack at level 270 instantly. So that's why I'm like, that's enough sack for up to hard Saren. So I would much rather just put all the symbols into arcanes, so you can start doing like really good damage in like C10s as quickly as possible, and then, you know, maybe even Black Mage. And then that is it for this little document that I have made today. Again, I'm going to be doing a few Challengers World videos because this only scratches the surface on what there is to talk about. Next time, I kind of want to talk about like a heroic gearing process and what I might try to do, especially considering I'm going to be doing like a sort of a speedrun strat with the limited resources that I have. So I feel like if I want to hit Challenger ASAP, I can't really optimally gear my character. I have to really just find stuff off the ground and wear it and actually just make it good. But I'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, next time, probably in a couple days, I'll go through what there is to talk about for anything else related to Challenge World. And then for the final video, will either be really late Tuesday night or really early Wednesday morning, depending on patch note release, to where I kind of just sum everything up and then give you the official plan out of like what's trying to happen in Challenges World as we make it through. So I hope you guys learned a thing or two from this video, especially regarding the Mystic Seal and kind of what to do with it. If you do have any questions about this, just go ahead and let me know in the comments. I will get back to you. And that's going to be it for this video for the day. Thank you all so much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, peace.